everybody again. Captain Happy here with yet another episode of From the Jaws of Defeat. I know I've been racking these up recently, but I've had a few good ones. Today I'm featuring the Tier 7 British Premium Cruiser, the Belfast, and most of you will probably be very well aware of the rather OP nature of this ship. It's what many consider, and myself included, to be probably pound for pound, tier for tier, the most overpowered ship in the game. It has smoke, it has radar, it has hydro if you want, or defensive fire, and HE for a British cruiser. So really quick, I'll go over my build, and then we'll get to the game. Priority target, because always expert marksman. Turret traverse isn't slow, but it's a quality of life. Adrenaline rush, it's kind of fast firing, but every little bit you can get helps. Superintendent, because you do want more charges, in particular of the smoke and radar. Concealment expert, to make your already very reasonable concealment for a cruiser better. And inertia fuse. You do have 152, so this helps your HE be able to pen most of the ships that you actually end up seeing. My final 3 points is a 16-point captain. I'll probably put in a demo expert for the extra fires. Very basic build, nothing too unusual there. So really quick, we'll go over the modules. Main armaments, mod 1, because always. Damage control, I do tend to take some fires in this, so that helps. I bought the smoke generator mod 1. It's debatable there, but I like having a little more room to wiggle around it. Steering gears for maneuverability, and a little extra concealment. I think that's about it. Oh, yeah, I am running hydro, despite the major CV meta right now. Being able to spot the torps while I'm in smoke has been very useful. So, without further delay, we can get right to the battle here. I am running the alternative color scheme for the camo, which I really like. I like the aesthetic of it for the Belfast, and actually a lot of the British ships too. I'm not entirely sure, well, I was going to say I'm not entirely sure why they go with that color scheme, but then again, there's some pretty flashy camos in the game. So as you can see here, tier 8 games, so we're not high tier, but we're right in the middle. Tier 7 does seem to be kind of the magic tier right now. I have personally had more games where I'm high tier than low tier, and certainly in this ship in particular, being at least debatedly one of the most overpowered ship in the game, you don't fare too badly even in a tier 9 game. When it does come to that, though, you obviously have to be very, very careful of things like the Iowa, because you do have the very typical British cruiser armor, which is to say you don't really have any. So it's much easier to get blapped. But that being said, it's not too difficult to get blapped at just about any tier with British cruiser armor. So we'll get into this battle here, and as we start out, so on this map from the south spawn with the radar cruiser, I am currently heading to the spot that I like to start from. Now, you will see a lot of people go for that, the big island in the middle, the one right between C and D, and that's not an unreasonable spot to go to. I like this side, though, because not only can I cover D with my radar, I find I can get more shots on the enemy ships that appear on the other side of D than from that other spot. But similar to a couple other places, and I believe it was my Des Moines video recently, where the outcrop here, where you might think you should be completely concealed as you fire. You're actually not. And this is another one of those spots you have to find kind of just the right place to shoot from. Where the sandy beach here is near the end. Even that New Mexico, and I believe you'll see an example of it here. If I start firing from here, it looks like they shouldn't have line of sight, but they do. And knowing that, I pop my smoke. Now, I was hoping that the ships would stay spotted. The New Mexico doesn't, but the enemy DD does. I slide into radar range, and there is where you see the hydro coming very useful. Now, full disclosure here, if I didn't have my hydro running, and I did not see those torps, I don't know that I would have thought the torps would have been coming my direction. In my mind, while playing the game, I had gotten to this position quick enough that I wouldn't have presumed that DD would have sent torps. So in that case in particular, the hydro really saved me some damage there. So, you know, yes, there's a CV, actually, there's double CV in this game. And, oh boy, for any of you out there who aren't the biggest fans of CVs at the moment, just you wait. There's some Belfast justice coming. Oh, spoiler alert, I guess. So now, without anything detected that's in range, I'm going to be trying to fire into smoke. And the coup is off. Now, that probably is the contender, if not the outright title holder, for the second spot in most overpowered ships in the game. And both these ships have been out, available, well, not available anymore, but if you have either of these ships, you've had them for a while, so it's kind of no secret. However, if I were in my Kutuzov facing an enemy Belfast, I would take that fight. It definitely is one that this guy doesn't seem too shy about shooting at me at all, and I don't blame him. I wouldn't be either. The enemy DD pops back up, so I try and do what I can to get some damage on him before he gets out of range. I actually have one pretty good salvo there. And you can see right there, I should have pointed it out as it was happening, that even without defensive fire, the AA on the Belfast is nothing to scoff at. It's not the best, but it's certainly not the worst, and I was able to handle those planes pretty well. So we get now the New Mexico and the Kutuzov pushing around the corner, and at this point, I believe I'm the only thing they have to shoot at, so naturally, they're both going to be shooting at me. Thankfully, I dodge the New Mexico's salvo, because as I was saying, so New Mexico, Tier 6 American battleship, even that would hurt a lot if he hit me. Basically from any angle, too. However, I'm a little bit less concerned with him than I am the Kutuzov, just because the Kutuzov has great HE, has absolutely great shell velocity, can hit me at range, and most importantly in this fight, can hit me from ranges where I can't hit him. So, I did pop smoke here, it was available, they were both in range, and I thought for a second I was probably going to hit the island. I wanted to keep my eye on both of them, so I knew when shells were coming, but I knew the island was close, and I had a bad feeling and knew I had to drop off concealment if I could help it at all. However, all that being said, our friendly Akazuki has moved into the Capt and is now taking back B, so that's good for us. The game to this point, we've lost the destroyer, but the enemy was up 3 Capts to 1 for a while, so they've garnered themselves almost a 170 point lead. Still early though, not even 6 minutes in, so that's not the worst thing in the world. As you've seen by a whole bunch of these videos, Clearly, that's not the worst thing in the world at this point in the game. So we start trying to farm this New Mexico. I thought about popping out of my smoke because they're going to be worried about our destroyer and not me, but it ends up not mattering anyway. So at this point, that's partially why I wanted to, was to see, not that I'm the one getting eyes on him necessarily, but if he was shooting at our destroyer, he would become visible to me as well. And an enemy Fiji shows up in the background. So here we go again. Some what will be eventually some smoke firing, I think. Actually, you know what? I could be wrong. He's staying detected a lot longer than I thought. There he goes. So Wargaming a couple patches ago introduced this wonderful, wonderful little feature on the minimap where you get, hooray, I killed the destroyer, where you get a little target indicator on the minimap where your guns are aiming. It serves many functions, it helps in many ways, but probably and easily the most beneficial factor is the ability to fire into smoke or to fire over islands. Well, no, I'll take that second one back. Firing into smoke, definitely. Firing into over islands only if you have a line of sight from your gun sight to either the ship itself or the body of water it would be in on the other side of the island. It still does kind of that annoying thing, and I wish it was different, but you know, that might be asking for a little too much. But I wish that you would be able to actually outright fire over islands using that indicator. Not yet, and maybe not at all. However, what you'll see is I do, salvo wasn't so great, but I do end up landing hits, even on blind firing targets, entirely because of that target indicator. Very, very nice addition. It is at this point, the enemy has gone back up 3 caps to 1. They are now, well, they were briefly at about a 300 point lead. And if you look at our west flank, the west flank is falling very, very quickly. In fact, the only ships we have over there at the moment are our 2 aircraft carriers. So at this point, in my mind anyway, it becomes, well, we gotta push. This now, no more sitting around, and we're not 6 minutes in. Thankfully, I get the Fiji. We have to make it happen right now. So I decided to charge up. Unfortunately, we do lose our Cleveland to the Kutuzov. But myself and this North Carolina, considering the HP that Kutuzov has, I was already saying, alright, let's go, let's push anyway. But between the two of us, I don't see any reason we can't finish this guy off. Smoke or no smoke, whether he's aiming at me or not, which I think he was briefly anyway. And so I use radar right there to try and spot him in his smoke, and you can, well, I'm not sure, yeah, you can see it on the minimap. He must have just barely made it outside my 8.5 radar range, because according to his last known position, and even where I saw his smoke, he should be detected right now. Now, that being said, he kind of did the smart thing. He didn't lay smoke to sit in it and shoot at us. He laid smoke to continue falling back and try to get away. But it doesn't help him too much. He gets spotted for the briefest of seconds, and our North Carolina gets it. So that's really the only enemy ship in front of us that is posing an issue. I stop here and I notice more planes coming, so I pop my smoke here absolutely 100% so I can guarantee getting this Capt back, because at this point now the enemy team is back up to basically 300 points with 8 minutes left to go in the battle, and now they just killed our Graf Zeppelin. So we're in a really, really, really bad way now. The North Carolina decides to sail west to fight the enemy battleships that are remaining, our Scharnhorst in the south, not doing a terrible thing by kind of kiting and putting fire on them as, yeah, the Scharnhorst isn't terrible at brawling, but I don't know that I would be too excited about going 3v1 right now. I, at this point, decide that points and kills are valuable enough that I'm going to go right after the aircraft carriers. And I know that at least, oh no, there's the second set of planes. Both of them are here in the northeast corner or somewhere in that general vicinity. So instead of going for a Cap supporting our North Carolina, we get one kill back, the Nagato goes down, thankfully. You know, it's debatable here. Maybe you could say I should have supported our North Carolina and helped him with the battleships. There goes our Ryujo. Holy cow, 500 points down. So we really, if we're going to make this happen, we got to make it happen now. And it is at this point, when we lose both our carriers and the points lead is terrible, that I think my decision to chase after the carriers was wise. So the enemy, Shikaku, shows up first. I begin with HE, but he's showing me an awful lot of side, and for those of you who do play CVs, I love. Yeah, the Ranger's only tier 6, so I don't really fear the planes, but I do so love when they attempt to drop torpedoes from the front. It's near the easiest thing in the world to dodge. So, now I have it confirmed. I got both CVs here with me. Our team pulls back yet another enemy battleship. So, alright, now we're looking a little bit more at a 2v1, and they are very, very, very close to each other. So that is going to come right down to it. So it's right here. Shikaku drops torps. I am going to eat one. But with my HP, oh, no, correction, I eat two. So what happened there, I do remember it as I'm watching this, forgive me. I did hit the brakes. I should have only ate one. I started to accelerate and turn slightly preemptively, and it is one of the only times that I will curse the British cruiser acceleration. So our North Carolina decides to go for the ram, or the Duke of York maybe decide to go for the ram. Either way, it works out really, really well, considering I am in this kind of proximity to both enemy CVs, and despite their point lead with 5 minutes left, all I gotta do is kill them, and we will have brought this one back. So, I started talking about it a minute ago. Broadsiding carriers. HE could work too, but I feel like I need to kill him fast, and the way they have the damage control party set up, fires and stuff like that seem to be questionable as far as their reliability on killing CVs. So I used the AP on the broadside, and I got a citadel there from the nose on the Ranger, which actually prompted me to switch back to AP here. And this is when I won't say it almost gets us in trouble, because we have plenty of time at this point. But notice what happens with my AP from this angle. It's almost nothing. So I switch back to the HE. The enemy's at 911 points. And we somehow pull that victory out. This one, of all my Jaws of Defeats recently, really qualifies, as there didn't seem to be much hope at all throughout the second half of that game. But we in our Belfast served some justice for our fellow DD brethren against a couple of CVs there. Even though, I will say for fairness, really it's only the Midway I have an issue with right now in a DD. Most of the other CVs seem to be reasonable at this point. But It's a joke anyway. I don't really hate CVs. I certainly don't hate the people who play them or enjoy them. I wish there were some more tweaks, and I definitely wish they weren't going to be in T10 ranked, but that's for another time. I hope all of you enjoyed this video. I hope I see you soon. This is Captain Happy, signing off.